I am Adengure Samuel, a teacher by profession, almost 20 years now. I worked in Northern Region and Bonavoli, especially in this my school, main model basic school, for 16 years. It started last quarter of 2016. One morning, she bathed and we discovered some small lump on her left. That time she was almost 2 months pregnant. So I asked her to, the next time she visits the antenatal, she should complain to the doctor and we'll see what will happen. So she came back and told me that the nurse in charge there told her that, oh, it's not anything, it will soon go away. I didn't take it lightly. I said, how can this abnormal thing we have just seen in you? So I asked her to go to HDM hospital. There, the doctor asked her to go for mammogram at Sunyani Regional Hospital. She came back with the report. And the doctor said it is something unusual. She can't even identify what it is. So she gave us a referral note to Confanoche Teaching Hospital. That was till 2016. So at Confanoche, we were also sent to, they have a department called breast care. At the breast care, we spent almost 7 months at the breast care. Finally, they called me to tell me that they have to discard the baby. By that time, the baby was almost 7 months, I think 5 months. My wife declined and said, no, if you had wanted to do that, you should have done that early, not at the time that my baby is almost about coming out. And in fact, all what we spent was just scan, photocopy, a lot. I spent about 4,500 cedis there. So at last, they told me that they will operate my wife and pick the baby out. Then they continue with the treatment. I said, okay, go ahead, let's see what will happen. So on the 9th of January 2017, they did the surgery, brought the baby out. Then after some 2 weeks, my wife was discharged. We came home, but that we should come back in 2 weeks' time. But the question they gave me was that when I come home, I should feed my wife very well so that her hemoglobin level will be high. So we came home. I did my best. I fed my wife very well. We went back. When we went back, they asked us to go for another 2 weeks. So I told doctor, what is all this? My wife was just 2 months to deliver. So we have come 2 weeks, we should go another 2 weeks, another 2 weeks. Then it means that naturally, my wife will have delivered naturally. Because if you are adding, that is 4 weeks, my wife will have delivered naturally. I don't understand you. You have to do something. Look at my wife's breast. That time the breast was getting bigger and bigger. So I didn't take it lightly with the doctor. My wife said, then doctor, why did you operate me? If you have allowed me, I will have delivered naturally. Now look at where I am and I'm going to come. I've taken blood. You came back, said, okay, we should go home and come another 3 weeks. So at that point, I was not happy. I even have a quarrel with them. So I think one of the nurses approached me and told me that I should send my wife to Breast Care International in Kumasi, Odium, Tech. So we left. That was in February by then.
As a teacher, tomorrow.
She also received us, went through the necessary tests, told me that my wife had reached stage 3. Where was I? Then I explained to her I didn't sit down. I was in Confanoche. I said, oh, young man, I don't know, but we are professionals, but I shouldn't say this. They should have taken the baby long time. Because what you are telling me, it means you went there about 7 months ago. That time, how old was the baby? Just two weeks to 2 months. Just virtually 1 month, 2 weeks. So that was the first thing they should have done, to take the baby away and then treat the woman. Other than that, the treatment will affect the baby. They don't let us cry over spilt milk. So she also started. So she also started from scratch. She asked me to go for a document from Confanoche. I went there, they were not willing to give me the documents. So the doctor herself called and she got the documents and she started. She took, they have what they call dialysis. We took part of it to go and test. So we were there for 4 days. The 4th day, she asked us to go home and come back for the result. By that time, she had given us some medications. We came back. So at that point, we went back and she told us the results. Then that we should go under what you call chemotherapy. That cost almost 5,200. So each time we go, if her blood level was not up, we have to buy blood. So we did that from February. We were there up to almost June, July. The woman asked me to bring money for another test, MRI. So we did that. Later on, I called her. I brought my wife back home. Later on, I called her. She was outside the country. I called her and she asked me that I should go to the accountant and pick my money. At that point, I didn't understand. I said, Doc, what is happening? If I'm going to pick my money, does it mean you have given up? He said, oh, Samuel, you just go for your money. When I come, we shall talk. I didn't go because I didn't know what to come and tell my wife that doctor says I should come for the money. Then it means there's no hope. So I refused to go for the money. So I came back and told my wife that I called the doctor and she was outside the country. So let's wait. So when she came back, I went to her and she told me that I should go for my money and that I should take some medicine and go and give it to her. But I shouldn't bring my wife back again to the hospital. All this while I didn't hear of Gnat Cancer Hospital. So later on, my head teacher mentioned it to me. So I left. I just told my wife, let's get up. We just got up and went to Sweden Ghana Medical Center. It's at Asolbochi, the top there. So one evening, we just left here for Accra. Then when we got there, they admitted us and started taking care of my wife. In fact, for the next 3 months, things were better. My wife's breast had subsided so small. So I told myself, oh, if I've heard of this earlier, I think your condition, it would have been better. So the doctor said, oh, don't worry, let's go. So we go under chemotherapy, radioactivity, a whole lot. So the breast just subsided. So my wife started walking very nicely. Can even put her baby on the back and walk around. But I told her to stop working for some time.
As a teacher,
my wife is a businesswoman. She was going to Accra every 3 weeks to take medication. So one day, I was in a meeting in the evening, the youth meeting. Then my wife called me to come home. I came back and she told me that she was sitting in the hall and she wanted to go to the bedroom to sleep. And that was in the night, she couldn't get up. So I held her. When I held her, she was able to walk to the bedroom. That was the first time. Then the next time I was in the class teaching around 9 when my wife called me that I should come home quickly. I got to the house and she was on the bed. She told me she wanted to go out and paste and eat, saying she can't get up. I did everything, held her up. She can't even stand. So I quickly called the doctor at the Sweden Medical Center. The doctor told me to bring my wife immediately. Here too, the only means available is the VIP in the evening. So I quickly bought a ticket and we left in the evening. At that moment, when we got there, under the radiation, when they gave her the radiation, before the radiation, they took MRI. And they told me that the cancer has eaten to the spinal cord. So she has to undergo radiation. The radiation, we hope that what they have done will kill the cancer cells. So we left. Then he said we should come back the next morning. So we're doing that for 2 weeks. After the 2 weeks, they asked us to stay away for some time and they will see what the effect of the radiation. There was no any effect at all. So at that point, they were giving referral to Kolobu Teaching Hospital. At Kolobu, they said my wife will undergo surgery on the 27th of July 2018. So the doctor, I told doctor, the time you are giving us is too far. How we are in the Bunahaf region. Besides, look at, we are in May and you are sending us up to September. He said, my brother, I even considered you. I first gave you November. So the doctor opened his diary and saw that. Told me every day of the month she's booked, or it has been booked. Even to, if he had the chance, he will have jumped to 2019. But it doesn't give them that. So we should go home. That time, I asked them how much the surgery will cost. He told me that 16,800 Ghana cedis. That's 160 million. So I went back to the Gnat Cancer Fund and talked to the coordinator there. He told me what they do here is you find money and do it. When you come, they refund it. By that time, I had exhausted everything that I had. All my savings, all my wife's savings, gone. I even had to sell a plot of land, my motorbike, everything. So I told them, they said, no, they don't do it that way. So I went to my credit union and they gave me 100 million, 10,000. So I went and deposited it, waiting for the surgery. But one funny thing is that all that time we were fine. The only difficulty was accommodation in Accra. We didn't know anybody. Only the sister we got to know. She also had large family. So I had to just say, my wife, let's go somewhere. So I went and rented a room. 120 Ghana cedis a month. I pleaded with the landlady. He said 3 years. I said, no, I beg you. I'm exhausted. Look at my wife. We are in bad condition. I pleaded with her. Then she took 2 years. You can imagine, 120 cedis times 24 months. So we were there, waiting for September to come and my wife would go through the surgery. So along the way, 25th July, I went and reported to the doctor. He said, I should come the following week. The following week I went, they gave me some medication to give it to my wife. But now she can't admit her on the bed since the date is still far. I agree with him, but what can I do? I took the medication home, trying to survive my wife. Then early morning, 25th July, my wife passed on. I have a 1-year-old baby by then. I had my twins, they are 10 years. My first daughter is in school, so she was saved. Then my next born, 14 years, Swansea. So I was going up and down, up and down. It nearly even affected my work. Even some people went and reported that I had abandoned school, I had vacated post. So when I came, the director called me. I told her my version. This is what I've been doing. But because I've been writing for permission, I feel it difficult to now write for another permission. So maybe I'll leave school on Thursday, maybe Tuesday, and I'll come back. Just tell my headmaster and my CS. I didn't want to be doing that. So that was. So I was trekking. After the SGMC, it's free provided you are a teacher and you prove that you are a teacher. They ask for some small information. If you provide them, I think they do their background checks. I don't know. I never paid a person.
How come that you are not aware that you have a support package?
I've been seeing it on my payslip, but I thought it was a project yet to be developed. We have never heard of it. I've never heard of it. I never heard of it until that day. In fact, it has not been easy at all. As a single parent, I was taking care of an infant baby. You get up, you bath the other one, they go to school. You yourself, we go to school very early, 7 o'clock. We're in the classroom. You bath her, put pampers, she will soil herself again, a whole lot. I send her to school because she's in my school. Anytime it's break, she'll just come down to our teacher at the JHS. She'll just come down. And after school, I have to do all the cooking myself. In fact, it's not easy at all. It's up to now. Finally, when I went home to perform the funeral of my late wife, my senior sister decided to take the baby. So right now she's in Bolga. We have been visiting her frequently, but because of this COVID-19, I am afraid to travel. But I was scheduled to visit her when we vacate in May. Unfortunately, we had this thing, so we have been talking anyway. She's in school. She's in school.
With the experience, what advice would you want to give?
My advice would be in two perspectives. If this unfortunate thing happened to you, just quickly run to Cancer Hospital in Accra. I'm sure over there you save yourself. Any other person who is not a teacher and you see it, you seek early treatment. But the word early treatment, I have a different view because I went to Konfanochi very early. They have breast care department, you have oncology department. We wasted 7 months at the breast care. What is breast care? After all, you yourself have done the test and you have seen that it is cancer. That time, stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, until reach stage 4. Have you seen? So there should be pressure on the doctors. If anybody's wife has a cancer, or you a man, you also have cancer, you shouldn't go to breast care. If I had known this, I would have fought earlier to go to the oncology department because you identified that it is cancer. What am I doing at the breast care? 7 months at the breast care. Photocopy, scan, photocopy, scan, photocopy, scan for 7 good months.
tomorrow.
They are living and selling the place. It will be a big blow. In fact, the cancer treatment, very, very, very expensive. I must admit, very, very expensive. Each time the medication, I have to go and sign. When you are signing, you see the figure. I think one time I signed and I saw the medication was close to 20,000. That's 200 million. You can't afford this medicine. And it has not been once. All the time that we have been there, we are going to radiation, the chemo, a whole lot, the test. So if they are selling the place, I don't know, but it's a very big blow. Especially we teachers who are on very low income, and you get this disease, whether for yourself, for your wife, or your kids, I'm sure it's very, very difficult, very, very, very impossible to treat it. I am an individual, so I may not be able to take a unilateral decision. But then, if I get the opportunity not to take over, I think Gnat can take over the project and continue with it. Not to take over, they should allow it to go, leave the people live, and the whole place will become something to be. In fact, I've been there and I've seen the treatment and I see how expensive the thing is. Since then, I've not come to my normal. As if I've gone back in life 5 years. Very, very expensive. Very, very expensive. This a recommendation or a suggestion to Gnat, because if you are not in Accra, taking treatment there is as equally expensive as you can think if you are an outsider, because it's purely an outpatient hospital. I remember there was one time my wife was undergoing blood transfusion. Was supposed to take 2 pounds. We did only one, and it was 4:30. The nurse said we have to go. So you get the first day I got there. Where do I go? They told us that there's a guest house somewhere. I'm sure that guest house owner has done some connection with the hospital. They took us there. 120 cedis a night. So we were there for almost 2 weeks. You can imagine how expensive it is. So if Gnat will even take over, now you are saying they are leaving, if Gnat will take it over, they should think of building, even a guest house, buy it for only teachers. So that when you come, you take some small token and you sleep there. If not, you go to Accra and you are spending 120 cedis a day, minus your food. So eventually, you are spending about 2 million cedis a day. How much is your salary? That was the only one disadvantage about the place. That drained all my income. Because you are in a hospital, they won't admit the patient, you are going home. My wife finally discovered one of her sisters at Nima. You can imagine from Asalboche top there to Nima, the taxi would take 150 cedis. So we had to plead with another taxi driver. I got him. He's Sami, and I also say I'm Sami. So I pleaded with him. Because that time, my wife cannot even board a trotro because the thing has become big. And small touch should be painful. So you have to pick a taxi. So if you pick a taxi, in and out, one day, 150 cedis, and tomorrow you are coming back, tomorrow next you are coming back. For how long? That was only disadvantage about it. So now if Gnat is taking it over, I suggest they should take it over. The next thing I want to add is that when they take it over, they should think of building a small hostel, not even for free, but to just allow the project to continue. You take a small token from the teachers, then they can rest there. If someone is coming all the way from Upper East, all the way from Volta region, you get Accra, you don't know anybody. And 5 o'clock they close. Where will you sleep, my brother?
With Sweden Ghana Medical Center, and now there is hope for the cancer patient. You don't have to worry, don't give up now. As long as you are a Ghanaian teacher or relative, treatment is free. You don't have to worry, just keep hope alive. with Sweden Ghana Medical Center.